Hi guys, it's Chris here. I just want to talk today about trend lines. Firstly, if you go to your menu bar and you can find the trend line tool, it's a little diagonal tool. You'll notice when you draw it on and you drag it, you'll see that the trend line by default settings goes on forever and ever and ever and ever. So even if I scroll, you'll just see it just continues to go on. I would suggest to have it not like that. If you do want to change it so that it doesn't go on forever, just double click on it so that you get these dotted lines, which means the trend line is editable. And then right click and go to trend line properties. And you'll see at the top there's three little tabs. Go to parameters, and then there's a little box that says ray. I suggest that you turn it off. I turn it off. I just find it more useful without it on. And then you can click on OK. Okay, so basically in upward trends, you would always draw your trend lines from the bottom of the chart. And we remember using it to find turning points. In other words, potential C points or areas where we can trade. So we would look for key points on the chart. So down here, for example, we could draw a trend line up, and you could have used that trend line there to identify. So if we join that point to that point, in real time we didn't know, we wouldn't have known where the price was going to go to, but you can see that it quite accurately came down and bounced on this trend line coming up. Okay, so there's a couple of rules for trend lines. So firstly, you identify your 2 points. This is the 2 points that I've identified, and you've got a kind of a choice, or a little bit, like anything in trading. There's nothing which is going to be exact. It's not going to predict the exact pip of a turning point, but it will give you a rough idea. So with I could have drawn my trend line like that, or I could have drawn it like that. But what's interesting is if I draw it like that, then it accurately predicts this other movement. So you can choose with a trend line. You can either put it on the edge of the wicks, or you can cut the wicks off. So you've got that kind of leeway with your trend lines. So you can have it like that, or you can have it like that. And you just got to kind of go back and see what works, try and make it fit a little bit. The rule though is that you shouldn't be you can't be cutting through the bodies like that. Once you've cut through the bodies, that's not a proper trend line. You've got to adjust your trend line so that it's either just on the wicks or just cutting off the wicks. The same thing applies if I have my trend line, for example, like that. At the beginning of the trend line, you can have your trend line right on the edge there, or you could have it right on the edge of the body. And as long as it's not cutting through any of the bodies, then that's the kind of leeway that you have with the trend lines. So experiment a little bit. You'll see if I pull a trend line from this point and I run it through here, it's helped me to identify this turning point as well. You can have more than one trend line. So I might have this trend line coming up, but you've obviously got these lows here as well. It's not, these are significant. So you may have a trend line from here through to here. Remember, I've got a little bit of a leeway thing here. I can cut off the wick. So my trend line projecting forward is going to be anywhere from there to there. So if I go and see what happens in the future, what's quite interesting is that, what's happening here? This is actually a trend line from here, but when I've extended it on, these have become a support and a resistance. So even going on here, and obviously you had this price breakthrough, but you know, it's still given us a resistance point. It's broken through and given us a resistance again. Support, broken through, resistance. So just like support and resistance on a horizontal plane, the ones at an angle are equally as powerful. Look at that quickly. If I project this one up here, then you can see as well, you know, price came, it broke through there and then came up to retest. It's not a coincidence that it was on this trend line up. If I draw my trend line at a slightly different angle, oopsie, sorry. I could have the start of my trend line from here, going through this point, and you know, I can see it's bounced here, come broken, and then come and retested. So look out as well for when the trend lines get retested. It's very, very powerful. It's often you get a nice A, B, C, and that will be a perfect entry point to trade that down. So watch as the trend lines get broken and watch them come back to retest on the markets as well. Obviously, yeah, so that's all an example for an upward trend. Let's see what happens if I draw a trend line. Okay, what's interesting here is if I pull this through like here, so I've got this as my starting point. I've got a touch there, got a touch there, and it's pretty much identified this point here. So the trend lines are so powerful, guys. You just got to get good at just seeing how all these trend lines line up. Let's try and find a downwards. I mean here, I mean you can see very clearly, even just by the naked eye. You've joined 2 points there, and then the price has come down. It's bounced on this point, and then it's broken through. And then price, it struggled to break this trend line up. It's only a wick that poked through there. So that counts as a retest. You'll see the next little candle actually just hit directly on that trend line. So watch for the break and the retest. And often you can get some really good, you know, it just helps to give you confidence in what you're seeing. The more you do it, the more you look for these trend lines. Let's see what happens if I extend that up. Wow, okay, you can see. So I've got a touch there, touch there, touch there, and it also would have helped me to predict that level here. So the more you do this, guys, just go back through past examples. Look, you know, again, it doesn't always work. So yeah, I'm trying to make it fit. You can't make it fit. It has to go through the rules, but it can be very reliable. So just look to see how you can get your eye in again. There we've got 2 points lining up, it's broken through, retested, and on its way down again. Okay, so here again, we've got 2 points lining up, that point and that point, broken through and come down to retest again. So play about with the trend lines, guys. Just learn to get your eyes in. They're very, very useful. The more you play with them, the more you're going to find them useful to help you in your trading. But if there's any questions on trend lines or anything else, then let me know. Also, if you guys have got any ideas or things that you want me to cover in these videos, then please just drop me an email. It's chris.d@forexvarsity.com. It's chris.d@forexvarsity.com. And yeah, let us know how we can help you. Thanks.